Fans are mourning the death of an adult film star. A transgender man is arrested after he was attacked outside a bathroom while camping, and the Emmy nominations are in. That and much more on this episode of Pride Today. A popular adult film star has died following a brief illness. Jason Randy Pacheco shared this post from his hospital bed, asking for help as his kidneys were failing. In the post, Pacheco writes in part, "I have been in hospital for 5 days now. To all my fans, I will start posting much more after I recover from this. Anything helps." The 33-year-old had been recovering since November of last year. He started his work in adult film with gay porn studio Sean Cody in 2013 and became a fan favourite star. Pacheco identified as straight according to Queerty. His last film was shot in 2019. In Ohio, a transgender man is arrested for disorderly conduct after a group of men assaulted him at the bathrooms of a women's campground. 20-year-old Nora Ruiz was using the women's restroom at the direction of the owners of the campground. This did not sit well with another camper and her boyfriend. When Ruiz and his girlfriend left the bathroom, Ruiz said he was jumped by 3 large men who lifted him off the ground and choked him out using anti-LGBTQ+ slurs while threatening to kill him. Deputies arrested Ruiz instead of his alleged assailants, stating they only saw a large crowd gathered around Ruiz, who, according to them, appeared highly intoxicated. Later, Ruiz filed an official complaint with the Preble County Sheriff, who's investigating the case to determine if charges will be filed against the 3 men. Women's rights advocates across the country are still reeling from last month's Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade. Advocate producer Cara Glass spoke with the president and CEO of GLAAD.
It's been almost 2 weeks since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people saw coming. In fact, GLAAD has been raising awareness on this for a while now. And yet, for most, it seems that the outcome was still a shock to the system. What can you tell me about your own reaction to the news?
It was a shock to, even though we saw it in black and white, released, 2 months before or a month before, I think we couldn't imagine such an important piece of precedent being overturned and how vulnerable that made so many other pieces of decisions made by the Supreme Court. My personal reaction was still shock and deep disappointment in the system and really nervous and very scared for our most vulnerable in our communities. This is an LGBTQ issue. This is a reproductive rights issue. So it affects anyone who depends on bodily autonomy. And so I just feel it's really, I think, even this past July 4th, it was so hard. As you see freedoms being taken away from the citizens of the United States, it's shocking to see what's happening right now.
There's been a lot of talk on how this ruling will affect the future of LGBTQ+ issues. Roe v. Wade in many ways laid the foundation for Obergefell, which of course required states to grant marriage equality. As the CEO and president of GLAAD, how do you foresee this affecting marriage equality and even trans rights?
So I think there's 2 major things that we have to look at here. One is bodily autonomy and the freedom to make choices about our body, and that being governed by the Supreme Court or a government does not create a free society. So whether or not you're LGBTQ, female, trans, anyone who needs bodily autonomy and desires in our country that has had it taken away or has had it policed by government is in danger here. Then the second piece to it is that Obergefell is in grave danger right now. It is crystal clear. What's worse than that, though, is that the decision on Lawrence, which is the decision that said that our relationships, our intimate relationships as LGBTQ people, should not be criminalized, was decided by the Supreme Court. Thomas says that he thinks that they should unwind Lawrence and Obergefell. So I want to be really clear for our community and for your listeners that if they go after Lawrence, which would criminalize being LGBTQ, there is no need to go after Obergefell, because once we are criminalized as citizens and as being in our relationships, so my wife and I living together with our 2 children becomes a very different experience and becomes an illegal experience actually in this country. So whether or not we're married is irrelevant at that moment in time. So
You can watch the full interview on theadvocate.com. The Emmy nominations are in. Succession has received a leading 25 Emmy nominations, but Squid Game is now the first non-English language series to vie for television's top honour. Squid Game earned Best Drama nomination and 13 other bids for September's Emmy Awards. Succession captured the Best Drama trophy and 8 other awards when it last vied for Emmys in 2020. Ted Lasso was the top comedy series nominee with 20 bids. Other top nominees included The White Lotus, Hacks, Only Murders in the Building, and teenage dysfunction drama Euphoria. Thanks for watching Pride Today. You can find these stories and more on theadvocate.com. For Pride Today, I'm Stephen Walker.